Do you notice your legs swell easily? Do you feel a constant discomfort, a kind of heaviness that keeps you from walking freely like before? Maybe you've reached the end of the day with swollen ankles, with a feeling of pressure, as if your own legs were asking you for rest. And the worst part is that this happens every single day, and you're not quite sure what to do to relieve it. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Fluid retention in the legs is one of the most common problems as we get older. But today I want to share a simple, natural solution that's within everyone's reach. I'm going to show you a home method you can do yourself, without devices or medications. It will only take you 5 minutes a day, and if you stick with it, it can help you drain the built-up fluids, reduce swelling, and improve circulation in your legs. Of course, this does not replace a doctor's visit or professional treatment, but many older adults have found real relief by adding this simple habit to their daily routines. Sometimes, what seems small can make a big difference, especially when it becomes a self-care ritual. So if you're looking for a way to feel better, with lighter legs and less pain, this video is for you. I'm going to explain everything step by step clearly, and I promise that by the end, you'll know exactly how to do it yourself, without complications. And before we start, I'd love to get to know you a little more. Tell me in the comments how old you are and from which city or country you're watching me. It's always a pleasure to see people from everywhere come together in this space to care for their health. Now then, get ready. Because these 5 minutes a day could transform your legs and your well-being. As the years go by, our bodies begin to change in ways we often don't expect, and one of them is fluid buildup in the legs. It can start very subtly, a slight swelling at the end of the day, the imprint of your socks that doesn't fade so quickly, or a constant feeling of heaviness when you walk. But why does this happen? What makes our ankles, calves, or feet retain more fluid as we age? The answer lies in several factors that combine with one another. First, aging directly affects our circulation. As blood vessels lose elasticity and strength, blood no longer flows back to the heart as efficiently. This causes some of that fluid to accumulate in the extremities, especially the legs, where gravity works against you. In addition, many older adults lead a more sedentary lifestyle, whether due to pain, fatigue, or simply routine. Staying seated or standing for long periods without moving hampers the return of blood to the heart and favors fluid retention. Moving your legs, walking, stretching, all of that helps, but when mobility decreases, the problem gets worse. Muscle weakness also plays a role, especially in the calves. What few people know is that the leg muscles work like a kind of pump that helps push blood upward. When those muscles weaken, that natural pump loses power, and fluids remain stagnant. Another common factor is the use of medications that alter the body's fluid balance. Some treatments for blood pressure, diabetes, or even insomnia can have fluid retention as a side effect. And if we add a high-sodium diet, which is very common without our realizing it, for example in cold cuts, canned soups, or salty crackers, then the body starts to retain even more water. Let's think about the case of Rosalie, a woman of 73 years. She had always been active. She liked going out for morning walks. But after a fall 1 year ago, she became more sedentary. She began to notice that every afternoon her ankles were swollen. At first she thought it was normal, but over time the swelling increased. The feeling of heaviness grew more uncomfortable, and even her shoes stopped fitting like before. Rosalie didn't know that what she was experiencing was fluid retention. And like many older people, she also didn't know there were simple ways to relieve it. That's why the first and most important step is to identify the cause. Every body is different. Some people retain fluids due to hormonal issues, others because of heart, kidney, or circulatory problems. Understanding why it's happening in your case is the first step toward finding a real solution. And although today we'll go over a very useful home method to relieve these symptoms, if you notice persistent swelling or pain, it's essential to discuss it with your doctor. Because when we understand our bodies, we can start taking better care of them. Now that we understand why fluid retention in the legs occurs, it's time to talk about something just as important. How to know if that's what's really happening to you. Many people live with discomforts, without realizing their bodies are trying to send them signals. That's why paying attention to certain symptoms can mean the difference between living with pain or starting to improve your well-being today. One of the most common signs is visible swelling, especially around the ankles, feet, and calves. This swelling may appear at the end of the day, after many hours on your feet, or even after sitting too long without moving. It's that moment when you look at your legs and notice they seem larger or tighter than usual, as if your skin was stretched. Another classic sign is the feeling of heaviness. It's not a sharp pain, but a constant discomfort. Walking becomes harder, climbing stairs tires you more than normal, and you feel as if your legs weigh as though they were filled with sand. That heaviness isn't always visible, but you feel it, and it can be one of the first warning signs. There are also the marks you see after removing your socks or tight clothing. If at day's end you notice your socks leave a deep line in your skin, and that mark doesn't fade within a few minutes, that can be a clear indication that there's fluid retention. The pressure from the sock or the shoe leaves an imprint because the skin is swollen from the inside. Another symptom is mild pain or discomfort when pressing on the leg. It isn't a sharp pain like from a blow or an injury, but a diffuse discomfort, as if the muscle were always tense. In some cases, there may also be a feeling of warmth or even itchiness in the affected area. Now, it's very important to learn to distinguish swelling caused by fluid retention from swelling that may have a different origin, such as inflammation from an injury or infection. A simple way to check at home is with the following test. Sit in a comfortable spot, relax your leg, and gently press the skin of the ankle or the lower calf with your index finger for about 5 seconds. Then release. If the skin is left with a small indentation that takes several seconds to disappear, it's very likely you're retaining fluids. This is called pitting edema, and it's a common sign of fluid accumulation in the tissues. However, if that swelling appears suddenly and is accompanied by intense pain, redness, excessive warmth, or difficulty moving the leg, you should see a doctor immediately. It could be something more serious, like a thrombosis or an infection, which requires urgent attention. Likewise, if you notice the swelling affects only one leg and not the other, that's also a reason to consult. Remember that the body is wise and is always trying to tell us something. Don't ignore these signals. Knowing how to tell what's happening is the first step to caring for your health consciously and effectively. Now that you know how to identify fluid retention, it's time to get to know the system in your body that can help you the most to release that excess: the lymphatic system. You may have heard of it, but few people truly understand how it works. And yet, it's one of the most powerful mechanisms we have to keep our bodies clean, light, and in balance. The lymphatic system is like a network of highways that runs throughout the body. These highways don't carry blood, but a clear liquid called lymph, which carries toxins, waste, and excess water from the tissues outward. It works like a natural cleansing system. When all goes well, this network collects what's left over and eliminates it silently and efficiently. But over time, this system becomes slower and less active. As we age, the body loses elasticity, the muscles weaken, and daily movement decreases. All of that directly affects lymphatic drainage. Lymph no longer flows with the same force, and what used to be eliminated automatically now begins to accumulate, especially in the extremities, like the legs. The result? Swelling, a feeling of pressure, heaviness, and over time, even pain. This is where a simple yet powerful practice comes in: manual lymphatic drainage. Unlike a regular massage, lymphatic drainage has a very specific goal: to stimulate that network of lymph vessels so they start moving again, helping the body eliminate what it doesn't need. The benefits are multiple. By doing regular drainage, even just for a few minutes a day, you can improve circulation naturally, reduce the built-up pressure in the legs, eliminate toxins and waste, decrease visible swelling, and above all, regain a feeling of lightness and well-being. Many people think you need to go to a clinic or a professional therapist for this, and if you can, great. But there's also a way to do it yourself at home, with your own hands, and without any risk. It's not about pressing hard or doing complicated maneuvers. Quite the opposite. Manual lymphatic drainage is gentle, rhythmic, and relaxing. It's done with light movements, always in the direction of the heart, and with a very easy-to-learn technique. This kind of stimulation not only helps move lymph, but it also activates the parasympathetic system, which is in charge of relaxation, rest, and the body's recovery. That's why many people who practice it notice not only less swelling, but also better sleep, less anxiety, and more energy during the day. All right, now it's time to explain the step-by-step home method to help you drain excess fluid from your legs. This lymphatic drainage exercise is completely natural. You can do it at home, and you don't need any special equipment. You only need your hands, a few minutes of calm, and the desire to feel better. Let's do it together. Imagine you're right now in your bedroom, your living room, or any comfortable space. The first step is to prepare the place and your body. Find a spot where you can sit or lie down with your legs elevated. It can be a bed, a sofa, or a chair with a footrest. Ideally, your legs should be slightly above heart level. This helps gravity work in your favor and facilitates drainage. Once you're comfortable, let's prepare the skin. You can apply a few drops of a natural oil, such as extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, or almond oil. This will let your hands glide smoothly without friction. Now place both hands on your ankles with a soft but firm contact. The movement you're going to make is always upward, meaning from the ankles toward the knees, and then from the knees toward the thighs. It's not about squeezing hard or massaging as if you were kneading dough. The movements should be slow, circular, and rhythmic, as if you were gently pushing water upward. You can start like this. Place your fingers around the ankle and make a gentle circular motion. Then slowly glide your hands upward along the calf, as if you were wrapping the leg. Reach the lower part of the knee and repeat the motion several times. After that, do the same from the knee to the top of the thigh. Make this path from bottom to top about 2 or 3 times per leg for about 2 minutes each. As you do these movements, breathe deeply. Inhale through your nose counting to 4 and exhale through your mouth counting to 6. Deep breathing stimulates the lymphatic system from the abdomen and enhances the massage's effects. If you like, you can accompany this moment with soft music, nature sounds, or simply silence. Make it your moment, a small daily self-care ritual. The total time for this routine is approximately 5 minutes. You can do it in the morning when you wake up, and if you need it, also at night before going to sleep. What if you have reduced mobility? Don't worry. You can also do the routine while seated, and you can even ask a family member or caregiver for help. What matters is to keep the direction of the movement always upward toward the heart. Many people notice relief in the first few days. Others need 1 or 2 weeks to start feeling changes. Consistency is essential. A few minutes a day, every day, nothing more. And remember, if during the massage you feel pain, tingling, or any strange discomfort, stop and consult a health professional. Now that you know the lymphatic drainage method and how to apply it each day, I want to share complementary habits that can multiply its effects. Because even though the massage is a powerful tool, your body needs support from other angles. Small changes in your lifestyle can make a big difference in how you feel and in how your legs respond to the treatment. The first key habit is proper hydration. Drinking enough water throughout the day is essential. Although it may sound counterintuitive, when we don't drink enough water, the body retains fluids as a defense mechanism. So by staying well hydrated, you're sending the signal that there's no need to store more. Try sipping small amounts throughout the day. There's no need to guzzle large amounts all at once. 1 glass when you wake up, 1 mid-morning, another with lunch, 1 in the afternoon, and 1 before dinner. Without even noticing, you'll be taking care of yourself. The second habit is reducing salt and processed foods. Excess salt makes the body retain water, and many foods we eat daily, like cold cuts, canned foods, instant soups, or industrial breads, are packed with hidden sodium. Start little by little. Cook at home, use herbs for flavor instead of salt, and avoid foods with very long labels. Your body will notice. Another fundamental aspect is to keep moving, even a little. You don't need intense exercise, but you do need to keep your legs active. Walk a few minutes around the house, move your ankles while seated, stretch your legs when you're resting. All of this stimulates circulation and helps the lymphatic system do its job. And speaking of rest, I recommend elevating your legs at least once or twice a day. You can do it lying on the bed with your legs propped on pillows or reclining on the sofa with your feet up. 15 minutes in this position help lymph and blood return to the heart more easily. It's a simple gesture, but a powerful one. Additionally, there are certain natural foods that act as gentle diuretics and help remove excess fluids. Include in your diet fruits and vegetables with a high water content, like pineapple, cucumber, celery, and watermelon. They're light, refreshing, and support the body's internal cleansing. To show how these habits can change a life, let me tell you the story of Helen, a woman of 81 years. After knee surgery, she began to suffer constant swelling in both legs. She felt frustrated, tired, and every step became an effort. One day, her granddaughter told her about this drainage method, and together they started practicing it every morning. In addition, Helen began drinking more water, reduced salt in her meals, and every afternoon she reclined with her legs elevated while listening to soft music. The first few weeks were difficult, but after 1 month, her swelling had decreased noticeably. She went back to wearing her usual shoes. She walked in her garden without pain. And most importantly, she felt back in control of her body. There's no age limit to start taking care of yourself, and you don't have to do everything at once. It's enough to commit to 1 or 2 changes and repeat them every day. Your body will respond, and that relief that today seems far off may be closer than you imagine. We've reached the end of this journey, and before saying goodbye, let's do a quick review together. Today we talked about one of the most common problems as we age, fluid retention in the legs. We saw why it happens, how to identify its signals, and most importantly, we learned a simple, natural home method you can apply yourself from home in just 5 minutes a day. Do you remember it? First, you prepare your body. Sit or lie down with your legs elevated, apply a little natural oil, and begin a gentle massage, always moving upward, from the ankles to the thighs. Then you accompany that movement with deep breathing, calmly, without rushing. And if you can, do it in the morning and at night to keep circulation active throughout the day. I also shared complementary habits that enhance the effect. Drink more water, reduce salt, move frequently, elevate your legs, and eat fresh foods that help eliminate excess fluids. I know it may seem like a little. 5 minutes a day doesn't sound like much, but believe me, if you do it consistently, your body will thank you. You don't have to expect results from one day to the next. Give it time. 1 week, 2, and you'll see the swelling begin to subside. Your legs feel lighter, and you regain some of that freedom you thought you'd lost. This method doesn't require strength, equipment, or excessive effort. It only requires that you choose to care for yourself every day, with small actions that add up. And now, I invite you to do something very simple. Try it for 7 days. Yes, just 1 week. Apply the massage, drink more water, and raise your legs at the end of the day. And when those 7 days are over, come back to this video and tell me in the comments how it went. I'd love to read about your experience. It doesn't matter if the change was small or big, everything counts. And to finish, I want to ask you one last question. Are you going to try the method?
If the answer is yes, let me know in the comments.
And if you know someone who also suffers from swollen legs, share this video with them. You could help them more than you imagine. Thank you for staying until the end. Your health deserves time, attention, and also kindness. See you in the next video.